Hello, guys. So we've had massive volatility from the price of HEX, mostly EHEX. We've had volatility with PulseX as well. And there's also a lot of things happening, some things that I haven't heard anyone talking about as well. So we're going to cover all of that. So if we're taking a look at the price of HEX, right, we'll see that it hit a bottom of 0.0069. It went down significantly. Now, this came after first there was a tweet from Richard Hart, and then there was also some talk that the God whale is dumping his HEX. That was a talk that came out. And then after a little bit of investigation, it also came out that actually it wasn't the God will selling Hex. What had happened was God will sacrificed to a project, and the project that he sacrificed was started dumping. Now we have some update in regards to that because everyone was out there talking about that. Okay, this project, a scam project, is dumping Hex. They had started also to move to try and break some of their coins onto Pulse Chain, and everyone was scared. There was a massive amounts of fear in the space. And that's not the only FUD. There was a lot more FUD, but then there's just an update that I want us to take a look at that was released by Somi. Let me just take a look at it. In regards to the team, because one of the team members of the project, which is I think Bank X, reached out to Somi to let him know that look, this is, to let him know exactly what he thought was going on. Hey Somi, just watch your vid. I love watching them. By the way, you're both informative and entertaining, which is great. Just a few points. Lens and Bank X has been around for almost 2 years. They are huge RH and HEX fans. They were a sponsor at HEX Pulse Chain Conference. There is some it going on between them and Liquid Loans. My guess is petty rivalry. Most Mexicans support Liquid Loans, so there's bad blood already. I don't see their deleted tweet as a ransom note. Now they did send out a tweet saying Richard Hart, reach us to us. We don't want to see the price of Hex going down. So some people consider Sosa as a ransom note, as they're trying to kind of arm twist Richard Hart. I don't see the deleted tweet as a ransom note. It's them being Richard Hartners wanting to show off their sack, but also taking an opportunity to bow before RH to earn points with the community, as well as advertise their PLS, their Pulse sack. Looks like it backfired. At the moment, we have issues with their LP and relying too much on their supporters. I sack through Mexican supporters, but since then, as mentioned earlier, there has been some bad blood. Lance, the lead dev of Bang X, is doing some Twitter spaces at the end of the week. You should join and give him it. And if you think he's a scammer, love your work. Yeah. So I think that this definitely had helped kind of rebound the price because people there was a lot of fear that okay, this God will sacrifice 800 million hex, and they'd already started to sell that hex, and that was one of the triggers that really caused the crash in the price of hex. And I think that it definitely impacted obviously the entire ecosystem, or could have impacted the entire ecosystem, because they once they were trying to bridge some of the coins, or they were bridging some of the coins onto Pulse Chain, it means that now they can trade that hex for P hex, for Pulse, for Pulse X, for all of that other good stuff, and then bring the prices of the entire space. But judging from this tweet and from what they said after reaching out to Somi, it seems that maybe potentially the team does want to build for the space, and if they were a sponsor in the Hex conference, it definitely means that they're in this for the long term. Now that was some strong fun that we had, probably the strongest fun. Another thing is Eric Wall started tweeting about Hex again. You gotta know anytime price goes down, yeah, you gotta know that okay, or something bad happens, you gotta start to expect some tweets from some people or some comments from some people. The people who never said anything when Pulse Chain launched flawlessly, the people who never said anything when everything is moving well, as soon as there seems to be a roadblock or a kind of hiccup along the way, or is a bump along the way, then you start hearing them talk. Now, Eric Cole had a deal that he bets that Pulse. I don't. The bet, I think it's a pretty bad bet. He bets that Pulse will not do a 10x, and he bet 50,000. I think with Heavy Hex. Sorry, yeah. They made a bet of 50 grand. So he's saying that 22 months until you have to pay up. But unfortunately, I think the bet definitely I don't see him winning that. But times like this, that's when you see all of the stuff happening. Now, this is also in as well another fund. We've got the Binance Coinbase fund. All of those things also affect Hex and Pulse Chain, right? Because it affects the entire space. Now, this is a fund that I think was initially driving prices down, and then you have all this fund compounded on top of each other. But having said that, right, let's just take a quick look here. We can see the price of Pulse is 0.000112. So it's down a lot, but 1.12x sacrifice rate. We see PulseX, the price is a bit low, but the numbers that I do like to see here is this, right? Let's look at these numbers that are interesting. Pulse 16 billion burned. Pulse X 134 billion burned. Now, this I think needs to be updated as well. I think it needs to be updated because we've got a lot more burning. Now, the first 4,000 validators have switched off their machines and they've stopped their validation, and that is, and all of their coins are getting burnt. And after their coins are getting burnt, their rewards as well are getting burnt. Now, there is some talk that obviously the first validators are the first people who knew about Pulse Chain launch. Those are the first validators. So I would assume that the first validators are Richard Hart. So Richard Hart has burnt a large supply of his coins, 32 million multiplied by 4,096 uh, uh, tokens. Now, I would assume, now I use the word assume because he hasn't come out and said, these are my wallets, I'm burning these coins. But you can pretty much assume that they're probably his wallets that have burnt uh, that amount of hex. So that is a good thing. And Richard Hart said that this increases decentralization and also reduces supply, so which is great for price performance as well. Now, this is a powerful, powerful thing because most people don't really think about this, right? That if Richard Hart is switching off his machines, that means that he doesn't control the network. He's not one of. He's possibly. I'm sure he still has some machines on, right? But I think that long term he's going to switch off all his machines because if you've seen how he has operated over time, he's always kind of prioritized decentralization and prioritized community efforts and not his efforts, because he always says no expectation of profit from the work of others. So I expect him to completely pull out of being a validator. And he says that it increases decentralization, good for price performance as it increases scarcity and also increases the rewards that validators get, because he's not, if his machines are not generating any income from being validators, right? So I do think that this is an important step, and this is an important pumpermental that came out the same day that all this other fund came out. So the fact that as great as this, as great as these pumpermentals are, unfortunately they don't get much attention because attention is all on, is the god will dumping. But this is all good news. And obviously, as we've seen, the buy and burn on PulseX is just chugging along, burning some of that PulseX tokens, right? So that is great stuff. Okay, this is the tweet. This increases decentralization. This increases APY other validators get. This is common sense, but common sense seems is not so common. Did you know that the first 4,096 Pulse Chain validators bound their payout keys to a burn address, so their coins are burned forever, even when they're being, even when they exit being a validator, their 32 million coins per validator are just burned. So this event that he spoke about on the 7th happened on the yesterday on the 8th. So that's a few hours ago. And then you can see here this tweet is 16 hours old, so looks like the original. Yeah, turning off their 32 million. And then you can see the transactions here of the validators leaving, and then this increases decentralization APY, also reduces supply. And yeah, so that's all the good stuff that's happening. That's all the good stuff that's happening in the space. And yeah, I think that we should also understand that, look, the fundamentals have not changed, the fundamentals have not shifted, and the FUD is massive amounts of noise, and it does have an ability to capture people's attention to a great extent. And what I would say is that at this point is not a time where you need to be thinking about that. This time you need to be thinking about why you got in the space and focus on that. Now, this is another reason why it's important to always invest, to not invest more than what you're willing to lose, because when you invest what you're willing to lose, you don't get moved. You just say, okay, I'm in this, I believe in this the long term, and I'm going to stick to it, and then just move on like that moving forward. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again next time.